So everything was so cheap and everyone was moving here.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
someone, a few people copped a couple properties under a different name or
Oh, yeah.
corporation or something. I'm sure there's some big pieces out here.
You literally never know of just like, come on, right?
That's why.
Come
That's
on.
literally why. Like, come on. That's the name of the show.
I really want to hit you right now. Don't ever point like that again, bro. You hear me, bro? I will slap the hell out of you, man. You go see. Come on, right? You never know.
Welcome back to the You Never Know podcast, where you
That's
never
right.
know who we're going to have on or what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
Today's guest, little about him, from being a former Boise State football player to now a successful media and entertainment entrepreneur. David McKenzie has been featured on NBC, Good Morning America, and CBS, and is known as the voice of Boise.
Oh, yeah.
He has collaborated with Grammy-winning artists, NFL and NBA athletes, top CEOs, and more. David's business, David McKenzie Enterprises, LLC, has allowed him to oversee PR and video marketing for some of the top business cultures in the country. He is also the host of the #1 social media talk show in Boise. His guests have included players from the Dallas Cowboys, governors of state, Charles Barkley, Coldplay, Heather Cox of NBC, first-round NFL draft picks, and more. David believes success comes through servant leadership and that before you lead, you have to serve first, along with keeping God first. The voice of Boise, David McKenzie.
Welcome to the
Let's
podcast.
go.
How we doing?
I'm good, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
came in here. It was great. The teams in here is great. You guys had some great music. Well, music was playing. He likes Linkin Park, but you like a little Linkin Park too, or what?
I'm more of in the hip hop vibe.
Okay, cool. I like that.
So, old school, new school, you name it.
Okay.
I'm bumping the new Drake and 21 album right now, though.
You like it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. there you
That's
go.
fire. It's
Yeah.
better than Taylor Swift, for sure.
They have the 1 through 10 filled out on the Billboard right
Taylor
now.
Swift has one.
Oh, she has one.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
Drake and 21 are the rest.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
course,
thanks
yeah,
for
thanks for
coming
coming
on,
on.
man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Such a quick turnaround, too. I feel like we just asked you, like last week, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were pretty quick response, so appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys reached out. I said, absolutely not. And don't ever hit me up. No, I'm kidding. I was like, no, I love it, man. You guys are, you told me before you just wanted to start this show, and it's doing well.
Yeah, we're just, when this airs, will be over a year for sure, but
Let's go, man.
I think this is episode 29 or 30. I don't know. We got a couple in the bank. I don't know when this one will air specifically, but yeah, 1 year in, we're having fun doing it. So
I love it.
Yeah,
it's
I love
good.
it, man.
appreciate it. I don't know if you just came from work or you just wanted to dress nice for us.
No,
but...
dude, I'm always dressed like this, man. I'm if me on camera or whatever, so I'm always in a blazer, and I like feeling good.
Yeah.
I like
Look good, feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
sure.
people are like, you ever go casual? I'm like, I like being in a blazer
Mhm.
with like,
Wear a blazer to bed.
Yeah, I do actually. No, I'm kidding.
Got the shower
The robe,
blazer.
yeah.
The night.
I have a robe.
Okay.
I do have a
okay.
robe. But I mean, think about it. When people see you and you're in a blazer or suit, it's a different. You put off a different kind of an aura, and it
Yeah.
feels good.
It's
Yeah,
very
definitely.
Barney from How I Met Your Mother vibes.
Yes, yes.
Gotta
When
stand
people
out.
always say like, I don't care what people think, and that is true. That's good, but in a way, we all still kind of do.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
you still, when you start this podcast, when I start a business, you don't care what people think, but you still do care what people think of it.
yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's why I'm like, I don't care what people think about me, but I do care about my appearance.
Sure.
Right. And I mean, especially in, your industry and media and presentation is everything,
key.
right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, you gotta always be ready to go to be in front of that camera.
Definitely.
Exactly. No, you're right.
But yeah, before we jump into all the crazy stuff you got going on now, why don't we just kind of take it back? Just kind of, basic
Mhm.
introduction, who you are, where you grew up, and
Yeah, man.
what kind of led to where you are now.
So grew up in Dallas, Texas. And then when I was, before I got into sports and stuff, I was already doing media as a kid. So I was doing JCPenney commercials. I was in Barney as a kid. So
Barney?
you remember the show Barney?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
if you just go back and look at probably the one black kid in Barney, that was me. And so I was in that, and then did some commercials. And actually, fun fact, in that Barney episode I was in, Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez were in it.
That same episode?
No way.
That was
Well,
like
I don't know if it
figure.
was an episode, it's like the same video production or whatever, but I found out years later that I was like, hold up. I was 5 years old. They were both 5. Like we were in the same thing. So
No way.
Yeah.
yeah. And so they did their thing. So but yeah, did that modeling, commercials, and then I got into sports. Really enjoyed played for sport athlete in high school. And then when basketball was my first love, but I was too short. You gotta be a little bit taller to play basketball. I was still good in basketball,
Sure.
but they were, I'm 6'1". If you're 6'1", you gotta be really quick, whatever. So football was the only way where I was like, hey, they give out 30 scholarships a year.
Yep.
I have some opportunities there. So had some offers at a high school, had an offer to Texas Tech. They pulled my offer right before signing day. And then
What's that like?
awful.
Yeah, like
terrible, dude. I mean, they had a new coaching change.
okay.
And so one coach came in, wiped all that. So I kind of had all my eggs in the basket of like Texas Tech, this is where I want to go.
Yeah.
And when that kind of happened, I was kind of like, it was like, a God moment. Like, okay, hold up. Like, what's my next steps here?
Yeah, because that could be a big
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I mean,
later.
because all my teammates, they were committed to Baylor, committed to Texas Tech. So, I was like, where am I going? But long story short, Boise State came like a week later and was like, hey, we can't give you a scholarship, but we can give you a preferred walk-on, which is basically you're not trying out for the team. It's like you have a roster spot, you're on the team, you're a third receiver, but we're not paying for your college. You have to earn that, on the way. So
Sure.
that's how I got to Boise State, man, and. Yeah.
What drove you here though? Like what was like why? The grass is blue or
It's a good question. One, it's a God thing for me. Like I'm all about alignment, faith, and divine alignment. So I knew I didn't want to go to a school. I wanted to go to a school that actually had a good campus, a good environment, a good culture, a school that I knew that if I didn't play football, I would still enjoy being there. So I had other options on the table, but the options that were coming up, I was like, I don't want to go to Southern Miss. I don't want to go to somewhere in the South. I want to go in my own way. So when Boise State came at the time, Boise State was top 5 in the
Yeah.
country, right? I came out
Yeah.
2013. So
that was right after the Kellen Moore era, right?
exactly.
So,
So
you're like, oh yeah.
I was like, so when they came, I'm like, dude, like Blue Field, Kellen Moore, something fresh, new. I haven't been to Idaho, but like, dude, like, fuck it, I'm there.
So did you come here blind then?
Sight unseen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then so shall I keep going? Yeah. So
yeah. Go for it.
Went to Boise State, walked on, was on some good teams here. We were on the 2014 Fiesta Bowl team. I had Coach Pete for 1 year. I had Coach Harrison for the next 3 or 4. Coach Harrison, I mean, not the best guy, but good coach. And so we we were there. I had didn't play that much. Played a little, appeared in some games. But when I was there, the receivers that were there were Thomas Spurbeck, all-time leader in yards. Cedric Wilson plays for the Dolphins now. I mean, the room was stacked. So not saying I wasn't good, but there was just a lot of good players there.
I mean,
so
to be on the field or the opportunity with those players to look where they're at now, like obviously you had some talent there.
exactly, but that's kind of what drove me though, because I wasn't making the bus, I wasn't making the trips. I was
Sure.
playing some games. So, but I always knew, like that younger kid in me, of like, hey, I was on TV, I was all that stuff. So I kind of had that thing of like, I know all of my good friends are star athletes and all Americans, but I'm somebody too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so spending 5 years of putting others before you, which I was okay with. Hey, I want to make sure you're doing good. I want to make sure you're doing okay. Doing 4 or 5 years of that. Once I got done playing, I was like, what, it's okay to ask, what about me? Who am I going to become? Right. And so that really drove me into my entrepreneurship career and into what I'm doing now.
This is a little side question, kind of going back to the football team. Like people like Cedric Wilson, when you're on a team with them, can you tell like just off the bat, like, okay, this guy's like going to the league, like this guy's going places? Or because you're kind of in Idaho, right? And Mountain West gets a bad rap of not having like the best skill and that type of stuff. Like, yeah, this guy's good, but like,
no,
he's not going to the league. Like,
you know if they're legit.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of top tier talent at the Division I football level, but the plays that they're making and how they're doing it so in a poised fashion, you just know. Cedric, he came from a JUCO, so his first day there, he was making some good catches, and then I think the second day there, he was double teamed on like a deep fade route, and jumped up mid-sideline, snagged it one hand, brought it down
You're like
2 feet in, and everybody was like,
oh,
even I was like the guy from the longest yard. I was like, when all the black guys came out from the jail, and the Mexican guy goes, "Nah, I'm never gonna get to play." That's the way I was. Look at this. I was like, I'm never getting on the field. So
damn.
you know.
Was he doing any stuff like behind the scenes at all, like the work like off the field, or was everyone kind of doing the same work?
Yeah, he was. You, you know, sometimes people just have it.
Sure.
And I'm not saying he wasn't working hard. He was working his ass off for
definitely.
sure. And the good thing about Cedric was, he's a humble guy. I actually had Cedric on my show.
Okay.
He's a humble guy, down to earth dude. Went to JUCO. When you go to JUCO, that's a humbling experience,
That's what I've
right?
been
So
told.
he was already at the bottom of the JUCO, and so now he was just a good dude, and so we all support him on that.
Cool.
Yeah. And is that the Mountain West Championship ring?
This is a poinsettia bowl ring that I have
Mhm.
on now. It's I used to. Like I said, before the podcast started. It's a ring where it was a year where I feel like I came into my own as a player, so it's special to me. I appeared in a couple games, traveled on some trips, and played well in that year, and so that's why I always wear it because like, hey, I had a good year that year.
I mean,
Nice.
even if I was just, water boy or something, and I got one, I'd be wearing that all the time. I don't care.
For sure.
So yeah, you wrap up football, you start to think, think about yourself a little more, right? Like,
Right.
what's next for me?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go from there?
Well, I mean, I think what I did while I was playing was, and this is good what you guys are doing now. Are you guys in school or out of school?
We both graduated in May.
Both graduated May. Oh, nice. Okay, so you're already doing the right thing. So when I was in Boise State, I was interning at some radio stations. I was doing stuff with ESPN Boise. I did some stuff with KTIK, the ticket, and so I knew I was like, I want to do something in media, entertainment, but I was like, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna continue to try, And so I got a job, like a kind of a intern/job at ESPN Boise. So I was kind of co-hosting some shows, live shows, because luckily, grace of God, they saw me speak on the radio at KTIK The Tick, and they're like, "Dude, former football player, like pretty good. Like we'll put you on air."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, cool." So I did that, did a little KTVB roundup pregame game day, and then it hit me like mid-fall, and I was like, this is cool, but like I was like, I just don't want to get up every morning and just talk about sports. I don't want to get up every morning and just talk about what my former teammate Brett Rippon threw in the game. Like I know Brett as a friend. I really don't give a damn
Sure.
whatever. Like I want to be everything media.
Yeah.
Like it felt forced almost.
Yeah, it was just kind of like so like narrow. I was like, I
Yeah.
want to be everything entertainment. I want to talk about fashion. I want to talk about music, and so I started networking myself around. I got an opportunity to host like some some pageants. Then I got an opportunity to host Miss Idaho. And how I get Miss Idaho was I was hosting the Alpha Chi event at Boise State. And then the judge was Miss Idaho. And then she said, "Can you co-host with me?" And then so I started getting that hosting circuit, right?
Yeah.
And then, which is what you guys are doing. You guys are getting on social media. So my friend said, "Dude, you're doing all this stuff. You should get on social media." So I said, "Okay, cool. I get on social media." So I started doing these funny lip syncs of like me doing the Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. And some of these clips start to go viral. One got on Good Morning America. One got on NBC. And then I was hosting more. And so the brand started to grow. I was trying some entrepreneur things. So you can kind of see things expanding. I'm finding my way. But at the end of the day, I was still trying to figure out then, well, how do I make money then?
You got to capitalize on all that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's all these steps, right? So I'm like, okay, I have a pretty good following now. Now I have, 20,000 followers or whatever. Okay, great. Okay, now I'm hosting events. Okay, now they have me the on the field host for Boise State
I
games.
remember like my freshman or sophomore year, you were like DMac, they had you, singing Sweet Caroline. out of the
Exactly,
blue.
exactly, right?
So,
Which was epic, right? So
Yeah.
fun, right? And so did that. So now everybody's asking me, so how do you make money? I'm like, I don't know, right? And so worked some other jobs, still was doing entrepreneur things. And then about 3 years ago, my fiance now, girlfriend at the time, her mom she's a big real estate lender. And she told me, hey, successful in real estate. Can you help me with like my public relations, my marketing? Like, can you help me get out there? And I was like, I don't really do that. Like I do it for me,
mhm.
but I was like, I'll try,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, as I'm working with her, like, I'm just saying, put the camera here, don't say that, put these notes there, actually connect there, actually don't do this, move this here. It was like all
Yeah,
natural.
you're producing at that point.
I'm producing.
Yeah.
And then within 3 months, I had referred her, 3 to 4 months, I had referred her through my relationships, like $10 to $15 million worth of referral business to her real estate
You
business.
said million?
Yeah. So it was two things going on. One, me producing, using what I did for myself for somebody else. Two, me using my connections and stuff, whatever. And then three, people in that connection group starting to notice, oh wait, like David's knows this stuff. Like, hey, can you help me with my feature my listing? Hey, can you help me do this media thing? And then it clicked and I said, this is my bit. This is how I can grow, a media mogul brand here, because what I do for me, I can just do for others, right? So
Yeah.
that's how it started, and then from there we just continue to build like we're doing now. I've created my own talk show, spokesman for brands, and then
So like, what's your team look like? How big are you as a team?
so we have right now I work with 4 to 6 different subcontracted videographers who do work with me. I have a full-time assistant as well too. I also have 2 other full-time editors as well too. So I would say total my group, I don't know, 8,
Okay.
9, something like that,
Yeah.
and still growing, right?
Definitely,
And
yeah.
so we're taking that next step now, figuring out how to make the processes more efficient and stuff like that. But that's how you learn, growing
Definitely, yeah.
and praying about it, and because like with this podcast, who knows what this will turn into?
Exactly.
Is it producing content? Is whatever? So that's exciting. You guys are at least getting that first step, and then it'll flow.
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. You mentioned, a lot of like the producing and stuff like that came just natural to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anyone who was maybe like a mentor or something like that, someone who kind of helped you along the way, or was it completely just like, wow, I know what the fuck I'm doing?
Well, it's a good question. I have that thought of there's not really many mentors when it comes to entertainment in the valley now.
In Idaho, period.
In Idaho, period. So I had people I looked up to. Like I always said, right? I said, the goal is to be, like Bob Hope or the Black Ryan Seacrest. These are guys who Ryan Seacrest, who he's a host, but he has turned his hosting brand into production companies, clothing brands,
Yeah.
TV shows. He produces the Kardashian. He's worth $500 million through just media and production. So seeing guys like that, I was like, I want to do that. There was, some mentors that kind of helped me guide along the way, but at the end of the day, like if you already have it in you, if you already have your vision, like what you want to do, it's hard for people to kind of coach you through that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mhm. And so I still seeked out counseling every now and then, but it was really just praying, meditating, figuring out what next step to take, and then just kind of flowing from there.
I hear
Yeah.
that so much. I mean, I'm a producer here at SB Studios, and I
Mhm.
hear that like when they bring in guests, meditating is one of the most like talked about
Yes.
like
Mhm.
helpers, and I'm like, I hear it way more than I thought I would ever
I was
hear
gonna
that.
say half the podcasts here are about meditation or yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think because what happens is when you start the day, it's like I can't just start the day and then just flow right into the day. It's like, okay, what am I saying? What's the divine person saying? The energy or whatever. And so when you stop, stay calm, figure, okay, hold up, what am I flowing into today? What's kind of the goals on the list? Taking time with that, reading your word or your devotion or whatever that may be, it gets you in that alignment. Because I'm gonna be real, all those names he mentioned, Charles Barkley or NBC, or we've had Papa Roach on, all these things, they haven't come through toil. They've come through strict, complete alignment, right? Just off divine alignment. So relationships and connections, all the people you look up to, we look up to that we love or see on TV, it's no difference between you and them. It's just they're connected. They had a connection. Their talent is the same. It's just a divine connection. So when you know how to have relationships and know how to, when you get in that meditation or when you pray, your flesh might be telling you, oh, I need to get up and I need to call 50,000 people. Okay, that's the natural way. But, your spirit might be saying, hey, rest for the day, write down some goals, and maybe take 2 coffee meetings. And when you move that way, those 2 coffee meetings could be, CBS and ABC or
Sure.
something linked to it, because
Yeah.
it's moving without toil but still in divine alignment, if that makes
Definitely.
sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned, Papa Roach, Charles Barkley, those guys.
Mhm.
You said, it's got to be the right alignment. It doesn't just happen. How did that happen for you, where you're getting all these, big time guests on your show?
Yeah, so I think let me think. I think, Charles Barkley, that happened just off of, I'm the spokesman for a suit company called Reveal Suits, and they provide blazers and custom blazers for NFL, NBA, different sports teams, etc. So divine alignment again, right? When I was doing all those events I was just talking about,
Yeah.
and I was on the field trying to find my way. I had at the time I had started a small little bow tie necktie company called Bow Tie Hustle. It was like a logo licensing company, and it was had little college logos on it. So I was kind of networking around town. We got in some Bronco shops, just some small entrepreneur stuff. And through a friend of a friend, I connected with this guy who was doing these blazers in Dallas, and we tried to sell our ties to them, right? So, but once that business folded, I kept doing the media thing. About a year and a half later, he saw the stuff I was doing on Instagram and social media, and the CEO was like, "Hey, dude, can you do like some clips like that for us, like with our new Blazers releases?" I said, "Sure." So it started off with like a $400 or $500 a month thing, and hey, do 1-2 posts for us, wherever. Then right when I landed the deal with them, Divine Alignment, they landed deals with the Basketball Hall of Fame, Hockey Hall of Fame, FC Dallas. So now they're saying, "Can you produce teasers for
Yeah.
this thing?" I said, "Yeah." And then my buddy, he's the face. I'm the voice of Boise. He's like the face of Kansas City. My buddy, we're like best friends, brothers in Christ. He was like, "Dude, like, ask them if they can like fly you out to like these events they're going to be at." And I was like, never thought of that. Like, okay, go out there. And they had the Hall of Fame. I said, "Can I come out?" They said, "It's a good idea." So we go out there. I bring my video crew. We produce a recap of the Hall of Fame. The first year, we're seeing all these guys. And so this past year, I was like, okay, so this year we got the chance to interview Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and all these guys. Because, I'm just like, wow, like, what the hell? Just alignment. So
Yeah.
that's how the Barkley thing came. And then very quickly, the Papa Roach thing came just through one of my clients is a real estate agent. She does these cool listings. My team films listings for her. And she was looking to sell a home for one of her clients. They were hiking in Table Rock, and she said, "Oh yeah, one of my clients, her husband, he's looking to kind of be on a show or something out here. I told him that you do a show. I think he's in the band called like Papa Roach or something." I'm like, "What the like? Yeah." She didn't know who she was. I was like,
Right.
"Yeah, let's go." So she's actually connected me with Papa Roach and Heather Cox from NBC. So just the alignment.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the stuff, rather it was like the production or kind of like your show and, like
Mm-hmm.
the bow tie and stuff, bow tie company. It's like small side hustles that people may think like, oh, there may not be anything long term in this. Like,
Right.
it's not really worth it. But for you, it seems like a lot of that stuff you did do kind of like you consider like on the side. Really, that's what
Exactly.
made it. Yeah.
And who knows, like you said, with this podcast, it's like you guys are already 29 episodes in, 29, 30 episodes in, and it's like, you're one connection away of who knows, of like, hey, producing our whole thing. I don't know. It just
Right.
that's the way, especially in media and entertainment. This is not engineering. This is not consulting. Like, when you're in media and entertainment and production and entrepreneurship, shit can happen like overnight. Like
Yeah.
if they see you can do it, they might just say, "Okay, by the way, like, can you be a PA on this like short movie we're doing in LA?" You're like, "Wait, what?" Okay, cool. Like it moves so fast.
It does for
Mhm.
sure.
Even just like going like viral real quick, like the yodeling kid in Walmart or the
Oh yeah.
bad baby who was on, Dr. Phil, like you
Mhm.
capitalize on that, right?
Oh yeah, dude. It goes so it just moves quick, and you have to be prepared when it moves quick.
What's your opinion on like the media, like I want to say industry, but it's not really even really an industry here, like in the valley. Like I feel like it's still like if you're looked at, and I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, but like if you're walking around making a reel or whatever, downtown Boise or whatever, like you're still looked at like, yo, you're a weirdo. Like
Right.
like it hasn't that like LA, New York, like
Mhm.
influencer era hasn't hit like
Mhm.
Boise yet at all.
It hasn't, but it is coming because there is a lot of successful creators here, videographers, and I can even introduce you to some of these guys. I mean, you have people like Art of Visuals they handle all the production for Sony, right?
Yeah.
And they're based in Boise. You have successful photographers. You have a lot of people you'll be surprised. There's a lot of famous that's why you always got to make sure you're on point with what the fuck you're doing with this or whatever, because you never know who's watching, right? The Papa Roach guy lives in Nampa and he has a beautiful home out there. Who would have thought he moved here, right?
Yeah.
Heather Cox of NBC lives here. uh, different people vacation here in Boise, right? Right now, I'm trying to work with maybe doing some stuff with Kevin Hart when he comes here, right? Trying to do some fun stuff or Voice of Boise show you around town, right? So you never know who's watching, but it it's taken a while though to get here, and you're
Yeah.
right, because sometimes even for me, like it sometimes every now and then it is a lonely road because not
Definitely.
everybody is kind of like privy to that. So that's why I'm always all the people I hang around are other creators
Definitely.
or other content guys who
Yeah.
get this and who are video
You gotta
strategists.
get the vision
Exactly.
going.
And so it can be a lonely walk.
So like for that, so like for someone who's maybe like starting a podcast or
Mhm.
wanting to kind of like maybe someone graduating from the media or com PR from like Boise State or someone,
Mhm.
would you recommend starting like something that's like centralized or like specific to like Idaho and then growing out and broad?
Mhm.
Or would you just go balls to the wall and like basically don't narrow down yourself so soon, so early? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're basically saying, should somebody grow it out from here, or should they just like go after it, like
Yeah.
maybe move to that New York or
Well,
move
not
to?
not even move. It's like, like if you started a podcast tomorrow, right?
Mm,
You could start it on, best places to like eat, specifically in Idaho, right?
mhm.
Or like
Mhm.
best places to travel, specifically in Idaho for,
Mhm.
first 6 months or 8 months, a year,
Mhm.
and then slowly grow out. Okay, well, obviously there's only so many places to eat in Idaho.
Sure.
Then you
Sure.
grow out to your bigger and broader audience.
Mhm.
Or do you think it's just like I'm doing the best place to eat in the world or the United States? Like,
That's actually a really good question. It's a little bit of both.
yeah,
A little bit of both, because with my show, the reason it's gotten number one and all that is because I said I'm not having anybody mid major. I'm getting the guy. I don't want the company employee. I want the CEO. I don't want the tour person of that. I want the lead singer, right? When I went to the Hall of Fame this year, I said, I'm not here just to get some content in the background of some cool NBA players. I'm not fucking leaving here with some interviews
yeah,
with
Yeah.
the guys. I'm talking about the guys that people know. Then it's a failed trip, right?
yeah,
So it is good to have that, but at the same time, it's good to still build,
for sure.
right? So hey, I might not get to Charles Barkley every day,
Yeah, but
yeah,
when you
right.
do hit it,
But when you do hit it, whatever, still have the compass to get to go after that guy. But at the same time, hey, land some clients,
yeah,
network,
yeah,
connect. Hey, pick a top videographer or podcast in the valley or whatever, and hey, let's do lunch, let's do coffee. I still network, not intentionally to get business, but just to hey, let's just connect, right?
exactly.
I did that for a long time, and it works, right? So I would say a little bit of both, still knowing where you want to go, still trying to hit the big targets, but at the same time taking those small steps too.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
advice for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've talked a lot about like the stuff that's obviously like worked out for you and everything like that. Did you ever have like that down moment or something where you're like, damn, yeah, maybe media, this may not work. Was there a time like that for you at all?
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
If it's no, like
uh,
that's
uh,
it's sick.
I just
Yeah.
got, I don't have any down moments. Down moments. No. I would say the closest where I guess to answer your question is that some people try this industry out or they try something out and they okay, it doesn't work for me. For me, it was like I know I was born to do this, right? I did this as 4 or 5 years old. So no matter what, I just have that thought and faith and just feel like I've been chosen, by God to do this in this industry. I'm not chosen to do anything else. So bad times could have come, but I didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It could have come, but I didn't know, right? And so the lowest moment I would say is um, after doing all the hosting things on the field stuff, I needed money. And then I ended up, I had some other entrepreneur projects going on, still trying to figure it out. And then I got a job as like a salesman at like this tire and wheel company in Indiana. And this was like 4 years ago. And I'm like, got the job. I'm in Indiana. I'm traveling around the East Coast, like training. And I was like, dude, like, what? I'm not supposed to do this. Like, come on. I'm the Black Jimmy Fallon. I'm Jimmy. Like, come on. What? This is not it. And so I'm praying, I'm calling my girlfriend, all that. And I go, but when I kept praying, I felt like, God was telling me, hey, stay here. There's favor here. Like, that's what I'm getting from like this, my source. And so So I stayed, and then I was only there for 2 months, and all of a sudden, once I got that confirmation of staying there, a week later, the CEO called me and said, "Hey, long story short, we're gonna have to let you go because of some certain reasons, but since we liked you so much, and you've only been here 2 months, and we really think you're a cool guy, we're gonna give you a 6 months severance in one check, and which was $30,000, and we'll also give you a $5,000 bonus, and you can be on your way." And so I was like, "Whoa!" So I basically took that, vested properly, and now I'm here now. So that was a one moment where I was like, "Okay, am I going to be doing sales stuff forever, or what's the plan?" Went to the source, told me to stay, and thank God I didn't miss that divine opportunity. So,
Yeah. I mean, that could have gone a lot of ways
oh, it
too.
could have been so
Like,
many ways, right?
yeah,
And that's why it's hard with social media now, because in this world, there's a lot of fast things going. It's TikTok, a lot of people, it's a lot of 21, 23 year olds who feel shitty because I'm not making 185K a year yet. But I'm seeing all these people on social media who are 21, 19, have made their first million through real estate. Now I feel shitty. And it's like, well, first of all, that's good for them, but follow your purpose, follow
yeah,
your path, focus on you. And when you do that, you can better align yourself of that blessing that's coming to you. Because some people might be looking, look what he's doing. I just need to move to Nashville, and then you leave, and then you might miss something that was really divine, that was gonna maybe bring Nashville to you.
hmm yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah,
And so I tell so many people, like, I could have moved to LA and New York, but I'm like, God's calling me to be here for now. I still travel out to these places,
for
but guess
sure.
what? Me staying in alignment here, those things now come to me in alignment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like looking at it in the big picture. That's like it's almost like a don't move too quick,
Mm-hmm.
but also like keep running. Like it's like
Right.
it's almost like a respect the hustle type like situation where, I mean, like I was just thinking the other day. I don't know why I've had an urge to move to New York lately,
Mm,
but it's just like I don't like.
mm.
There's something about it that's just like I don't know if I need to make that jump just
And
yet.
see, I'm gonna tell you this, because, hey, you could be called to do it, right? Excuse me, but I will tell you this. Uh, I had a friend. I have a friend, Fail, the guy I told you about. He's the spokesman. He's face of Kansas City. That stuff with Disney and all that stuff. And about 3 years ago, he said, he was like, "Dude, nothing's happening here." He's in Wichita, Kansas, by the way. He was like, "Nothing's happening here." He's like, "I'm moving to LA, bro. Like, this is whatever." And that was, luckily, during that time was when that business model for me clicked, and all these businesses was coming to me through Boise. And I said, "I feel you, brother. I'm moving to Wichita, of moving to LA." But I said, before you move, I just came up with a model that if you put this in Kansas, you will completely dominate that circuit and do what I'm doing out here. And he did it, stayed, and now they call him Mr. Wichita. He's done stuff with, entertainment companies, Leanne Rhymes, and Kansas City Chiefs, and partnering with banks and NIL deals, and that all came through that city,
Yeah.
right? And so here's the thing: some people, sometimes you might be called to go to LA or New
Sure.
York or Dallas, right? If you are, do it. But it's always good, especially in this industry, to really think and sit back and say, "Okay, hold up. What's my vision? Where do I see myself in 10 years? Okay. Let me just flow in this thing before I jump."
Yeah.
And when you have that discourse with your maker, things align better.
I was gonna say too, like I feel like if you did make like if we just as soon as we started this podcast or even before we started, we're like, yo, let's just move to LA and then start it, right?
Right.
Something like that. The competition's a lot more heavy there. You're swimming with sharks too. I
Right.
think it's a perspective to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then in a Boise or a Kansas City or a Wichita,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have that more of a chance to
You're
stand
still a
out, right?
trailblazer here.
To stand up,
Yeah.
to stand out, exactly. And uh, you know, everybody has moved to in our industry has moved to LA, waited tables, did odd jobs, and tried to get in the movie or whatever. Everybody, it's a traffic of a shit ton of people doing that same thing. But the pioneers of Hollywood, the pioneers of entertainment, are the people that say, Tyler Perry, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna make my own studio. I'm gonna do plays. I'm gonna gear towards more of this demographic. Okay, yeah, you might give me 21% Rotten Tomatoes, but we're still making 80 million in the box office. And now Hollywood's flowing to you,
Yeah.
right? Or the people like so many innovators in Hollywood who are saying, yeah, I see that, but I can maybe get to Hollywood through a back door, right? Because I'm telling you right now, I say it. I'm speaking like Kanye now, but like you will see how I will be in the top tier of Hollywood by not their way, but God's way and through my own path because I took a different route, and so that's why these conversations are key because you can be around the people. It's refreshing because when you hear talk from people who are in the traffic, they're gonna say, "You gotta come up here, bro. You gotta get your thing. You gotta do this for 5 years." It's like, okay, yeah, but what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose?
Yeah. So you're saying when we have you on again next time, like we're just gonna
Next
have
time,
like
it's gonna be like
million,
5
10
security
million
people in here,
clicks
bro.
and,
Yeah,
like, yeah.
exactly, bro. It's
like you
gonna
have
be
a whole entourage.
way
and-
bigger than Kevin Hart. Yeah, bro. Next level.
You're gonna bring Kevin Hart to us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
okay.
question.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
But I don't think he can get in here because there is a height limit.
Oh,
So no, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say I think I only got like an inch or two on it, to be honest with you. But no, I think that's really interesting, though. You talk about like the back door to Hollywood, right? Because
Mhm.
that front door, the fucking line is 2 days long,
Oh.
right?
So long.
So yeah, and especially even like you look at TikTok, right? It's still pretty new. When did it really pop off? Like 2018, 2019?
Pandemic, yeah.
Right.
Right. And like I think the reason like when you think of TikTok, you think of like the D'Amelios, you think of like the
Bryce
guys in the
Hall.
Sway House or
Mhm.
Yeah.
hype Sway House,
Whatever,
whatever,
yeah.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I think the reason like it's because they were like the first ones, they were the pioneers of
Sure.
TikTok, right? And now you
Yes.
see all these people, half my For You page is girls doing the exact same dance.
The exact same thing. And see, and like I said, I have nothing against the TikTok people on social media, but like when you go on my platform, I enjoy. When people say, "Are you an influencer?" Like, I'm not an influencer. I said I'm a business spokesman. I have a media company. I have my own talk show. Like I go, I'm not an influencer. I'm in the line of where Oprah it was trying to it's getting
Yeah.
to, right? I'm not a content creator. I currently produce 2 TV shows. One's Emmy nominated, right? So I like being that different thing. I don't have to use a trending sound. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn how many views it gets, but when you come to my platform, you'll see, hey, like, this guy's different. He's aligning with the different people. And so there's a lot of TikTok people out there, but when you go to mine, you see, oh, I see Miami Heat, I see Barkley, I see Mercedes Benz, I see this and that. So it's like I like getting right to the core of it. I'm not gonna be in that traffic, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against those people, right? Some of
Yeah.
those things are good. You can learn a lot, but I'm gonna tell you this: the next 5, 10 years, the people who are going to be quote unquote the next A-list guys, the next Spider-Mans, the next directors, the next biggest content creators are not going to be the people that are following the same path. It's going to be some trailblazer from whatever. I mean, I was researching the other day about the guy who directed Napoleon Dynamite. He went to BYU,
It's filmed here in Idaho.
filmed here in Idaho, $400,000 budget, $48 million in the box office. After that, made Nacho Libre. After that, rest is history, right? But like,
Yeah.
he didn't follow the
Yeah.
It's
traffic.
like another case of like Barstool. Like Dave Portnoy was literally
Exactly.
selling newspapers in Boston with a girl in a bikini on him, and then all of a sudden it became what it is today.
Exactly.
And now they're like sports betting, and it's like that. Like Barstool almost made like a second version of Hollywood, in my opinion. Like it is
No question.
crazy what they have achieved and like what they've pushed forward. And I mean, who to tell if it's good or bad yet for the environment or the world or whatever? Because they push out so much content and so much controversial stuff, but like it's just crazy to me what they've achieved
Oh, dude,
in so little time.
it's incredible, and they're different, and their
Very.
content's different.
And they keep changing though. They adapt.
They adapt, but you know what? Their content. See, some people. This is good right here. Some people, some creators, they say I want to be different, and then their different is way off, right? What I mean being different is, hey, you're still up to beat what's going on.
Yeah,
You're still in tune with the world. Barstool is still in tune with what's going on, but
definitely.
their model, their pathway, their sphere, their pathway to it was different, right?
Very.
I still know I post consistently on social media. I still get the trending sounds. I still get that. So I'm just within that. I'm differentiating it.
Yeah.
You're not just it's not just copy and paste, but it's you
Exactly.
instead of whoever you saw, pop off with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think, Barstool and all these like big companies and, any type of industry, right? I think they, it was sink or swim. It wasn't
Mhm.
like the kind of play it safe, like, you were talking about, where like just following the trend, right?
Right.
Amazon started off and
They're selling books. They were
Yeah.
like a library.
yeah, Barstool with a newspaper, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just like, I feel like that's so important to like, they're like the trendsetters, like the Barstools of the world. They, it was sink or swim. They didn't kind of play it safe and just try to
Right.
follow the trend and hope they, work off that.
Dude, totally. And it's you look at. I'm trying to think now. It's like, if with social media now, social media is there's pros and cons. The con to it is it gives a lot of people platforms that really shouldn't have platforms, right? And so here's the thing: in the midst of this, it's a lot of people who want to be a celebrity, who want to be this producer or this creator and all that, but at the core they don't have it, right?
Yeah.
And so all the people out there who have the it, who know how to produce, who know how to have a good conversation, right? To know how to have a good flow, um, you know, you have to find a way to stick out within that crowd, and it's okay. So I ain't gonna lie, I haven't shared stuff like this on any other podcast. I said it's something good in this room, man. It's some vibes in here.
Appreciate
I
that.
feel like I'm on Joe Rogan or Howard Stern right now, man.
It won't be that long, but we're not gonna be going for 5 hours tonight. But
Yeah.
that's just crazy to me. I'm like, I gotta watch a Joe Rogan. Are you a Joe Rogan watcher?
I am. Not all the time, but I've watched a lot of
Yeah,
his episodes.
select ones. You
Yeah.
watch them in one sitting?
Oh no!
I was just saying, you gotta be a clear.
I watch those like 15-minute recaps or
Yeah.
12-minute.
like YouTube clips.
That's just insane to me that he can book like those A-list people for
Mhm.
5 hours in the day.
Well, the key that makes Joe Rogan, Howard Stern,
Yeah.
those guys, people is that out of every interview out there, they can bring Brad Pitt on, and they're not asking Brad, "How's your movie?" They ask Brad, like, "So when you got to Hollywood, like, how many girls were you getting?"
Right.
So it makes every viewer go,
It's the shit you never know.
right, like, okay, lead singer Van Halen, like, okay, let's be real. Besides the songs, like, how much drugs were you taking? Right?
Like when Elon went there, when they smoking
They
weed
were
when-
smoking, right?
when
So
Elon-
that type of content, like, not everybody can do it in that medium. Like I wish sometimes I could, like,
just do some edgy stuff.
just edgy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I can't because brands and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But the people who can, like, dude, it's tons of money in that. Where it's just like you can just talk freely.
Yeah, but I mean, Joe Rogan also. He did what? Fear Factor. He's done the UFC.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's not like he just started up and Spotify gave him that deal. Like
exactly.
because he's got what, like 3,000 episodes of that show or something like he's
Right.
up
He's
there
He's been
in
doing it
episodes,
since like
too.
2009 too. I think like way before
But see,
podcasts were even.
That's the exciting thing about media is that there's so much businesses within businesses. Like you guys can start this podcast and all of a sudden be like, you know what? Like maybe our company helps other CEOs and other businesses start their own podcast.
Mhm.
So now we go to other top Fortune 500 winners who are successful. They already have money, but they want to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our company helps you create podcasts, right? Or
We're giving you the platform.
we're giving
right?
the platform. You use our studio, you use our equipment, we'll direct you, whatever that is, right? So it's so many. He wasn't expecting to have a podcast when he was on Fear Factor, but
No.
you keep flowing and you keep going, and Ryan Seacrest, you're hosting American Idol, the biggest TV show in the world, and it's a cultural icon, and you're doing it for 6 or 7 years, and all of a sudden you have a wife, a husband, and 6 kids, and their last names are Kardashian, and you say, hey, I like this, is cool. Let me create a pilot around this show and put it to E and see what it does.
Mhm.
And the rest is fucking history. I mean, what?
So he got a suit line. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Keep My Other Kardashian is like the biggest show
yeah.
on E in history, right? So,
And then Disney just rebooted it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the key I was talking about here today, man, is just like, in media entertainment, it's a lot of things going on, which is good and bad. But it's just key to get quiet and like, yo, like, what's some ideas of what I'm doing now? What's within this, Let me just flow in this journey and see what comes about,
Yeah, for sure.
Where did the Voice of Boise title come from?
It's a good question. I didn't make it up myself. I'll take it though. I was doing all the field stuff, and this is the power of marketing, by the way. This is a power of marketing story. And my mentor, Shane Hall, one of my mentors, he's a serial entrepreneur, traveled to 75 countries, successful investor, just a dope guy. You guys are gonna meet him. And actually, he might be your next good guest. Anyway, he was like, dude, you're on the field. Boise State, 40,000 people. You get all these views on your Instagram. It's like, yeah. And he was like, so yeah, that means you're the voice of Boise. And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, no, like you're on the field, dude. Like everybody comes, like you're the voice of Boise. I'm like, all right, whatever. So my buddy who also was with me was like, yeah, dude, you are, like, you host these events, you're the voice of Boise.
Wait, so were you hesitant at first?
Oh yeah, dude. Like
Really?
every time, like, because dude, like, you don't understand. I intern with radio and people who've been in the industries for years, right? So I just have this respect factor of like,
Sure.
I'm not gonna say. And they were like, you're the voice of Boise. So my friend takes my phone, puts the voice of Boise in my profile. This is about 3 years ago. All of a sudden, I kept it. I just kept it on there.
Yeah.
So, voice of Boise, cool. They're calling me that. And also, a couple other companies at the time were saying, hey, we want the voice of Boise. Can you be a spokesman? Voice of Boise, can you be? Okay, cool.
Stands out like
Yeah,
right away. Yeah.
Exactly. So can you be a spokesman? Cool. And then start doing more events. Then they started introducing me as voice of Boise. Now, this wouldn't have worked if I wasn't doing shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I'm saying?
You did one football game and you're the voice of Boise.
Right, exactly. You can't do that, right? So it was a combination of people calling me that, other brand, or I think there was a couple brands at the time that I became the spokesman of that were like basically endorsed it, like, you are the voice of Boise, you are a spokesman. It was like endorsements behind that, some spokesman deals, some business deals. So it's a combination of my friends, some businesses, and then I was starting to really kind of, get some momentum, a lot of momentum with like my platform. People were seeing big names. And so now wherever I go, I just get introduced as it. So it started as a nickname, but it just kind of just expanded and
It's a good time to be the voice of Boise, though, with how fast Boise's growing.
It is. No, it is. I'll take it.
It's a great marketing tool.
I'll definitely take it. But I also say too, is that, that's the power of social media, right? Because there can be. I had a guy on my show. He's a skin doctor, and there's a lot of great skin doctors out there,
See
right?
the big one on TikTok from
Yes.
here? The 208 skin or something?
208 skin doc, and there's a lot of great skin doctors out there, but he gets all of the sponsorships because people see him every day.
Yeah.
He's a 208 skin doc. And that's the power of marketing, Donald Trump would do this in the 80s, right? He's about to have a big commercial building. He goes to the newspapers. He goes to commercial TV shows. He goes to all these things and says, hey, guys, this building's the greatest building. It's a tremendous building.
Everything's, extravagant.
Everything's extravagant, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what other commercial real estate agent ever did that? Zero.
No one.
So why is he him? Because nobody in his industry did it. So that's a part of my business model. I'm like, when I meet with people, I say, I'm gonna make you a celebrity in your lane. I'm the voice of Boise. Let me make you that, right? And so that's why people keep coming to me, because they're like, I don't care what people say. I don't want social media, the attention. At the end of the day, whatever you're doing, you still want some attention.
Yeah.
You still want credibility. And so when you know how to do that correctly, I think it hit me is when I went on a radio show to do an interview, and these guys are there 40 years. I interned with whatever, and they introduced me. Hey, you're killing it, man. Entertainment, give it up for the voice of Boise. And I said, it's power of media, marketing, branding, and when you do that properly,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. You recently posted a clip with one of the big wigs in Topgolf about like the expansion here. Was that one of the things where you came and sold them? I'm the voice of Boise. Let's sit down and
Well, with that, I connections again. Tommy is a CEO of BVA, builds half of Idaho. I helped him on his campaign when he ran for governor. I would introduce him at events, and then he brought me on his podcast. I think when I went on, I was a young entrepreneur, but I was spitting fire on that podcast, young entrepreneur. And so it was like the most viewed podcast he had. So we just stayed in touch. And then when I launched my talk show, he was one of the first sponsors of the show. So to get him on was just kind of like, an easy thing. And I'm going to be real. I don't care how elite somebody is, you can still get the biggest guest, because at the end of the day, they want to talk about what they're doing.
So they need exposure too.
They want exposure too. No matter what they say or whatever miasma is around them, they still want to be talked to.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it almost would take a pressure off, not discrediting you or like any of like the smaller people, but I feel like they would almost almost be a better showing on some of those like smaller or maybe building up like shows, or not the ones that Joe Rogan who are getting 1 million+ views or an episode,
Right.
because they can go a little more intimate and it's a little more just
Exactly.
like personable.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think like the great analogy, right, is when it's like someone's running for president. Let's say they're like the Democratic nominee, and they don't need to go and do a tour through California or New York. They need to be going to Idaho, Kansas, Arizona now, Utah, and then be heard there,
Right.
right? Because that's like that kind of core people that maybe they weren't able to reach.
Right.
But now that and I think that's why you're in such a great spot as the voice of Boise. Is you're like,
Mhm.
hey, come on to my show. I'm the voice of Boise,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make you known in this area. So here's a new demographic for you to grow from.
Exactly. And sometimes when they come here, I say, hey, you could be on the show, or hey, maybe my team can create some content for you. Hey, maybe we can produce, handle your culture. We can handle your marketing, whatever that is. I'm here. Whatever you need. What do you want?
Yeah,
A lot of stuff being preached.
yeah.
Love it.
Dropping the mic, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, do you think you're at a point now? You were talking earlier about starting out in a Boise or Wichita, and then have LA, New York come to you.
Mhm.
Do you think you're at that point now where they're coming to you?
Yeah, I mean, with this year alone of, going to Vegas for the NFL draft, going to Massachusetts for the NBA Hall of Fame, going back to Vegas with my other partner, we produce content for the EDM band Cheat Codes. A lot of things are going on out of the state. A lot of things are going on.
Like everything's going on out of the state.
Right, exactly. So a lot of opportunities are coming that I'm starting to go out the state a lot more, and a lot of collaborations are happening that are out of state relationships. So I think it is. I mean, like I said, it really is any day where it might be a thing where I say, hey, this opportunity came. I will always have seeds here in Boise. I'll always have a home here in Boise. I will still have business here. But
It'll be like the base, kind of.
It'll be the base for
Yeah.
sure. But I do believe it'll be things of like, hey, you gotta be in LA for a couple months for this show or whatever. It has gotten to that point where it is here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just starting to wind down a little bit. I had just a couple like rapid fire questions for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Was there anyone you interviewed where you were the most nervous? Anyone you almost got the what's the word I'm looking for?
Jitters,
Like the jitters and yeah.
butterflies.
I wouldn't say jitters, because once I have a big guess, I'm like, I've been waiting for this, right? But the one guess I had where I knew I had to like make sure I was on my shit, and I killed it, was when I had Heather Cox of NBC on. Heather Cox is like a decorated, very, very successful sports talk host, radio or TV. She's done the Olympics. I told her when I had her on my show, I'm like, hey, send me some pictures of you. And then she's like, okay, cool. And I get pictures of like her and Steph Curry, her and Justin Timberlake. And I'm just like, all right, cool.
I was more needed a headshot, but that'll work.
I think like I interviewed a lot of big guests, but I think with her, the reason I knew I had to be on is because she's in the world of like journalism.
Absolutely.
On camera, right? So like, if a Charles Barkley, they don't really give a damn, right? But I know her, like, she's in the business of, my notes, my studies, questions, preciseness, journalism. So that was the one interview where I was like, gotta make sure I have my questions on her. I can't just really be winging it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that connection you made and like you still have?
Yeah. Every now and then. I mean, we don't talk all the time, but we're
Yeah.
still social media, comment on certain things and all that. So yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Do you have one proudest professional moment?
Proudest professional moment. There's a lot of those. I have a lot of those in my business, of whatever, like when it comes to like me producing marketing things, materials for my clients. But I think two of them are two things. I think one is when we had Papa Roach on, and when I had the last, I was kind of scared because Last Resort's one of the biggest songs in history, right? I think 800 million streams on Spotify. Cut my life into. So the drummer, former drummer,
copyrighted now,
right?
I'm gonna have to blur that out.
So when I had the show with them, my first idea was, dude, like we gotta rock out to this live, and so for him to say yeah, and we did it live, and it turned out great, and he was air drumming. That was freaking epic. I'll never forget that. That was number one.
That's so sick.
Number two was starting to produce TV shows. Lately, Arizona CW Network, and we just had a recent episode we were producing out in Idaho Falls, and it was a lot of things moving around. Like I'm talking like we have to film here, then we have to go back here, and then we have to go back here. And so it was a lot of moving parts. I think anybody else who was a videographer or producer probably would have shit their pants, pooped their pants. But I was just so prepared, because I just of doing years of this and whatever. So it was just like I was ready, and everything turned out perfect. Everything turned out perfect because I was just like, yeah, we can do that, cool. And I was ready. Yeah, I had an answer. So those are kind of the 2 moments so far. I was like, I'm liking it. I'm feeling it. I'm flowing in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Got any more rapid?
He has some more rapid. He does.
Yeah.
Was there certain because you obviously do host a lot of events and stuff like that? Was there one that was the most fun to host?
Most fun to host, definitely the Boise State on the field stuff, right?
Because what is that? You got to get nervous for that kind of stuff, right?
But you know what, dude? To be real, when you're on the field with 40,000 people, it's not that scary because not everybody can really even see you, right?
That is true.
Is there any liquid courage flowing too?
Not on that. I have to be dialed, right? On other events sometimes.
Okay.
But on the field, it's like you have your earphones in, you're speaking on the mic.
Oh, do you have an in-ear?
It's like an inner ear, yeah. So when you're on there, it's like you can do something singing, "What's up?" whatever, and then all of a sudden you walk off, and it's like it's so big, right?
Yeah.
But the nerve-wracking ones is where it's like 300 people in a closed room, and you're on the stage, and they're right in your face.
I was gonna say I've done a couple events at Boise State, and you did auctions in the Sky Center. I used to do AV for Boise State.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And
that's where I think I've yeah.
And you've done a couple auctions, for sure. And that would be damn, there's some high big wig people in here.
Those are a little, yeah. That's where it can get nerve wracking when it's when they're when you're on this table and everybody's
especially they don't hand you a script. They're here's a microphone, go to an auction.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, shit, okay.
You got flow. You gotta know your thing. So I would say that. Yeah, I would say that.
If there was one person, dead or alive, you could sit down and have on your show, who would it be?
Oh man, 2 people, man. That's easy, dude. I'm a music guy. 2 people. One, the Beatles, right? Well, actually, 2 of them are alive, so I can have Paul McCartney still on my show. But all of them together, that's a dream. That's my favorite band ever. Love the Beatles. They were the ones that really started me in this entertainment life. And then 2, I would say, I don't know why I was just about to say, and 2 in Bill Cosby. No, I'm kidding.
How'd you get away with it for so long?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no. 2 would be probably Frank Sinatra. I love Sinatra,
Both
man.
musicians, huh?
Yeah, I love musicians. I just love I love old school entertainment.
Yeah.
Just that old school Sinatra, Rat Pack, Sammy Davis, Dean Martin. So having him on the show would be pretty cool.
I know there's a lot of events and a lot of celebrities that have rather, vacation home or whatnot down in Sun Valley. Have you done any events down there or any future planning on, seeing what's up down there?
That's a great question. Dude, all my time here, I don't think I've ever been up to Sun Valley.
Ever?
Ever.
Really?
Ever.
I've never been there either, so I'm with you.
I've never been but I know Tony Robbins has a home out there. Clint Eastwood has a home out there. Schwarzenegger.
Isn't there? There's also a big vacation spot up in Coeur d'Alene too, right? It has a golf course that a lot of celebrities go to.
I know the Kardashians. I think Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been up there before.
Well, see, that's the thing, dude. And very quickly, but that's the thing about Boise. It's you never know who's watching. I heard that the director of The Notebook, that he has a home on the Treasure Valley. You never knew that, right? You're like, whoa, what? I heard that. I think the CEO of some other top businesses and corporations, or
Micron, Albertsons,
or more I'm talking about if it's Trump organization or if it's Microsoft or whatever, they live out here. And so
I'm sure when the house everything was so cheap and everyone was moving here, I'm sure someone, few people copped a couple properties under a different name or corporation or something. I'm sure there's some big pieces.
You literally never know of just come on, right?
That's why. That's literally why. Come on. That's the name of the show.
I really want to hit you right now. Don't ever point like that again, bro. You hear me, bro? I will slap the hell out of you, man. You go see. Come on, right? You never know. That's great, man.
Everyone always asks us why we named it that. Like, that's literally why.
It's like, well, we don't fucking know either.
Yeah.
Dude, you never know though. You never know. And the one thing any advice I can give is, once you guys, start connecting more with celebrities or people like that, do your research. Do your research, right? Know who you're talking to. Know their story or what they did, because they can change your whole interview. I had to interview in May. He was a producer he's worked with Coldplay, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, all these guys, all these people. And he's a celloist. He's a musician. Worked with Evanescence, everybody. And I just thought, okay, cool. He writes music and arrangement. We'll do a couple, whatever. Then I was eating lunch day before the interview, and I just decided to look him up. And I ended up finding out that he helped arrange and write the song "Viva La Vida" by Coldplay.
Oh, wow.
I used to rule the world, like the song of the year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, I'm interviewing this guy. So that changed the whole interview. So he had his cello, and I was like, dude, let's sing "Viva La Vida," and we did it. Changed the whole aspect, right? So. Me and my friend, we always laugh now, because he'll have a big guest hit, and I'd be like, hey, did you, look up who he is? Because we don't, in this world, you might not know. Okay, cool. Bring him on. You start talking, and you're like, wait, hold up. This dude produced Michael Jackson's whatever.
Yeah.
So that is one advice I always say, do your research, because you never know.
Great example that we had Melissa Paul on for
Yeah.
KTVB.
Uh-huh.
And I was just going to ask her about, her lifestyle show. And then I find out, she used to, work in LA and had interviewed, Tom Cruise and Serena Williams, I think.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
these big names. And I was like, God damn, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
Right.
I was like, what are you here in Boise for? Kind of thing. But,
Right. And so it's like, when you know that dude, it's like, yeah, man, you got to do the research, because, you don't want to look stupid.
Right.
That's why I'm always watching movies and stuff, because I know if I'm around other movie stars, they dropping movie quotes, I want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the person who's like, hey, so what's that movie? And they're all like, what do you mean? It won 5 Oscars.
Yeah.
What are you? You're like,
Speaking of the deep research, Sean Evans from Hot Ones, I think does that better than anybody.
oh yeah,
The
he
amount
does.
of times,
That is
they ask
crazy.
man, how'd you know that? Whether, dying from the wing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Nardwar. Nardwar pulls stuff. I don't know if you know.
Oh,
who
yeah,
that is.
of
He
course.
just pulls stuff that. Even sometimes people he interviews doesn't even know. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
what? Where does he even get some of that stuff?
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think-
good when you know that stuff. It makes the interview better.
Yeah.
And
You stand out to the celebrities, which is always a good thing.
For sure.
exactly.
I could see you on Hot Ones. Is that a bucket list? That's gotta be a bucket list
Ugh,
thing.
I don't really like hot
I mean,
stuff.
half the people on that show don't, but it's that show gets 5 million views an episode.
Dude,
I think I'd suffer.
I don't
10
know. I would
wings
have to be in a certain mood for that, bro, because that stuff that's some hot stuff right there.
I mean, that's a modern day Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel show though now.
oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
names that have gone through there. I remember watching it. They're getting less than $1 million an episode, doing it
I
in
was gonna say,
someone's
because I think
rented studio.
Yeah.
Complex kind of
Complex
signed
bought
them,
'em, yeah.
right? And now they're
Mhm.
on Hulu.
Right.
So, and it just started out as YouTube videos, I'm pretty sure, and
Yeah.
it grew to what it is.
And see, that, I guess to say that's why I'm so, passionate and putting effort when it comes to business, entrepreneuring, pioneering, because, it's a lot of people who are on camera hosts. It's a lot of people, right? And props to them. But, what can make you guys different is you guys becoming your own celebrity, right? There was a lot of people who had their own shows or whatever, but Hot Ones is different. It's unique. And
Yeah.
also he's his own entrepreneur in a way, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So the more you think along those lines of, some girl out, she has a real estate podcast. She was like, what's advice if I'm starting a podcast? My first advice was you yourself individually need to become a celebrity.
right.
You need to start networking. You need to start posting as yourself. I'm this whatever, show yourself. Be you. You don't have to be singing, but hey, if you like sports, post some sports clips, right? And all of a sudden, you're known as a sports guy. Then all of a sudden, the sports guy now says, hey, check out my podcast.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't start the show first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was doing me first. And then it was everybody was like, you should have a show. You should have a show. I'm like, oh. And then I was like, I'm going to have a show.
Yeah. especially that standing out stuff. Because when we started, like my nickname in college was Danger. Like almost everybody still calls me that.
Danger.
And
Wow.
being, the most least dangerous motherfucker you've ever seen, right? And so it's kind of like when people ask me, like, I remember he'd be like, "Do you want me to like tell like we've had some like Gastor and Monty and like people on that like we didn't know personally, we just reached out to, and they're like,
Mhm.
do you want me to like talk like refer to you as like Danger?" He'll ask me that from behind the
Right.
computer.
Like
now.
a professionalism thing.
You know,
are you Daniel or are you Danger?
And
Like,
part of me is like, I was always kind of hesitant, but the more like we've gone into it, the more I'm like, I mean, it makes me stand out, right?
It
People are
does.
gonna be like, your name's fucking Danger. Like,
Right.
what's your story? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
But see that I know we're over time, but real quick, that when you create that your yourself or your style or whatever your image is, whatever, it does separate you, right?
Yeah.
And now, like I said, it's a lot of people trying to create stuff, but
Mhm.
they don't have the work to back it up.
Yeah.
Somebody can say all they want. Oh, I'm the face of LA, but okay, yeah, but if we never see you and you're not doing, producing, it's not going to make sense,
Yeah.
right? But if somebody is the biggest commercial guy in Idaho and he wants to say, I'm the face of commercial in Idaho, well, look at his work.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Looks like you have to start putting some dangerous stuff on your
I guess
Instagram
so.
feed.
What's up, guys? I'm Danger. I'm here with Steve-O, and this is my. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm adding extra Cholula to my breakfast burrito. It's gonna be crazy.
Right.
My last question for you before we let you plug what you got going on and stuff.
Mhm.
What's your long term goal? Where do you see yourself 5, 10, 15 years from now?
Long-term goal, man, is really to do what I'm doing now, but at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
So I say Ryan, the Ryan Secrets as a model, but yeah, I would just say, actually, let me think on that. I would say, yeah, I would just say, yeah, what I'm doing now at the highest level. So, I want to be I'm gonna be a, an EGOT recipient. That's a person who wins a Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, right? I want to be a media mogul, right? And that's a person who's producing television, producing movies, and all that, starring in movies as well too. I want to have a very highly successful, media company as well too. And another goal is, I want to host I want to host the Oscars at least, 4 or 5 times, and so those are all goals of mine. So really, like I said, really like what I'm doing now, but at a higher level, because you got to think about it. I'm not. I did this. I wasn't on a TV network. I wasn't on started at NBC and all that. Like,
Yeah.
this is straight God, faith, David, and then just ground roots of just making relationships and then growing this thing to where now I am becoming something. So
It's your own brand, your own journey, right?
exactly. So doing what I'm doing now, at the highest level, because some people, they have other platforms to build off that, but it's like, hey, we're coming. I mean, what other person is doing that from Idaho? I mean,
Right.
entertainment from ground up, founding it, and then Barkley, all these things from Idaho. What?
Zero.
That is insane. I
Yeah.
thought that the other day. I was like, bro, this is insane. Like,
That's
this
different.
that's different.
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds and stuff.
Yeah, potato.
Yeah, bro, come on.
Yeah, I guarantee you, people like Charles Barkley, if they hear Idaho on the news or something, they're gonna think of you. Like, oh, I know a guy from Idaho. He's
Right.
the guy who interviewed me at the Hall of Fame
Right.
or whatever, right?
Yeah, dude. So, yeah.
Now, if they came to you to host the Oscars next year, you get nervous for that?
I mean, yeah, of course. But I know what I would. I already know what I would do. You guys gotta come see me host an event live every now
I've
and then.
seen you.
I do impersonations.
Oh yeah, I've been to probably 4, 5, 6 of your events.
You have? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've worked a couple stuff with your stuff.
Okay, that's good. He just goes, I've been to 5 of your events, man. Honestly,
Yeah,
He's
not
like,
that
I'm the
impressed, man.
reason it happens, right?
yeah, hey, I can shut your mic off at any time right now,
You
dude.
go, honestly, bro, I saw the event was kind of shitty. So-
And then the second question before, how are you gonna win a Grammy?
Well, it's a good question. Well, I've been taking piano for about 9, 10 years.
Okay.
I'm on the board for the Boise Philharmonic.
Okay.
I do a little singing as well too, and I've always found myself through alignment getting involved in projects when it comes to music. I really, when the doors are closed,
The backdoor Grammy.
yeah,
Credit.
yeah. To be honest, bro, music is like a huge thing to me.
Yeah,
Everything in music makes me do what I do.
definitely.
So if I'm about to go do something red carpet, I gotta have a certain song, all that. So I think it could be through multiple things. Maybe it's producing. Maybe it's being part of a movie that helps produce a track. Multiple collaborations.
Yeah.
It's all about alignment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Kevin Durant won an Oscar, right? Because he was just, hey, I'll be executive producer on it, whatever. So, I mean, if he can do that, and he never even gets a haircut, right? So I can definitely, yeah, that's definitely a goal to get that Grammy.
You ever dabble in acting or no?
A little bit.
Or would you be open to it? Like,
oh my God,
forward?
yeah. Oh my God, I think my favorite movie ever is Wedding Crashers. I love comedies. I love rockstar comedies, Step Brothers. So definitely, I think that actually is that's definitely another goal because I did a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
I do a lot with the content things and stuff I do as well too, and the impersonations and all that. So
I definitely think you would kill it in the comedy genre.
Comedy acting, yeah, I like that.
Have you done like an open mic, like a stand up?
I did. I've done stand up about 12 times, 10 times, which that is nerve wracking.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
That stand up comedy
That's
by
a different
far.
level.
I will say that is one thing that is freaking
Impressive,
nerve wracking,
like-
bro. Because it's still fun,
Yeah.
but it's like you're not hosting an event. It's like you're up there 30 minutes and it's you,
Yeah.
and
people
you got to be funny.
and you got to be funny.
Yeah.
And
People
so
are expecting to laugh, right? It's not like when,
I went for the first time. I told a story in college and I killed it, like crushed it. Everybody's crying, laughing. So I think I'm like Eddie Murphy, right? I'm thinking like, so I tell all my friends the next time I say, bro, you don't understand, bro. Like I shut Liquid down. Liquid laughs. They're crying, laughing. You gotta come see me like next Tuesday. Next Tuesday they come. I had some shitty material. I kind of got nervous. It was probably one of the lowest
Bomb.
points of my life, bro. It was so bad, bro. Like it was crickets. I got up there and like forgot what I was gonna say, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a disaster, bro." So, and then I came up again like a couple weeks later, and I did all right. I did pretty good. So, yeah, stand up. I did that. That's why I didn't know I was gonna do my career yet.
Yeah.
So I would just do that on
Trying to
Thursdays,
figure it out.
just to figure it out, But I got some laughs, though.
That's good.
I got some I got some laughs. The one key of comedy is you can't. It is about writing, but you gotta like. It has to be
It's the delivery.
It has to be you.
Yeah.
Like so, whenever I would try to like come up with a joke to say, it really wouldn't. But when I would like tell a story of like, okay, dude, like I'm leaving the restaurant, and all of a sudden, like I have to go to the restroom, and there's no restroom freaking open, right? And I'm like having this attack. When they know that you went through that,
Yeah.
then now they're laughing at you.
Yeah.
You know, so
laughing
helps.
at with, you
Yeah.
can
Same thing.
Right.
Exactly. And last thing I got, you got a walk up song?
Oh, I got a lot of
It's got to be
songs,
last
bro.
resort now, right?
Dude, last resort. On the way here, I was bumping the Killers. It really just depends on the mood I'm in.
For sure.
If I'm in a rap mood, I might go some, I don't know. I might, Kanye, a lot of Kanye,
Okay.
a lot of Jay-Z, I like mogul
Old
rap.
Kanye?
Old Kanye.
Yeah.
If I'm in a like amped up, like rock star, we're going on stage, probably like U2,
Okay.
arena, like, hello, hello, it's not a play. Like, I like that stuff. So I'll probably say that. And then if I'm chilling, I don't know, maybe a little 70s rock.
You ever tried DJing?
A little bit. A little
Okay.
bit.
Just you seem like a big like music nut. Like
Oh, dude, I am.
just so like
I am. And the thing is, it's hard for me to go to clubs and stuff because when people are playing shitty music, I'm like, this is not the
Yeah.
right song to play, bro. Play stuff that makes everybody dance.
dance. Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Every time I'm doing something, I'm like, hey, bro, we need to dance.
Yeah.
Let's flow. Play some Diddy. Play some
Any like Black Eyed anything.
Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
Something. Britney Spears. I don't care.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
that'll work. Toxic always. I mean, at this point, you could play like old school Taylor Swift, and that'll get like the age generation are going
And
out
the thing
now.
is, it's like, I don't want to hear with the taste of the. I want to hear the song.
yeah, like the
Play me
actual-
Backstreet Boys the song. I don't want to
Exactly.
hear like, oh my God, will.
Yeah, the remix.
No.
It's like yeah, by
Or
the
maybe
way.
even worse, they play just the song, but they skip it like after a minute.
They play
right?
the chorus and that's
Yeah.
it. You get 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I don't
Come
want that
on.
at all, man.
so cool.
Yeah. Well,
Where
tell
do
our-
people find you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can find me on the on the gram. Yeah, Instagram is at DMAC_1. We're posting a lot of fun content there. I just posted a clip on there tonight with the Green Bay Packers receiver Christian Watson. Had like 3 tubs
Yeah.
Oh,
yesterday.
he went
bro. He
off yesterday.
killed it. So we interviewed him back in April. But yeah, DMAC_1 is my Instagram. Twitter is David at Dave McKenzie 1. My website, dmacenterprises.com. But yeah, if you guys just look up the Voice of Boise on Google,
For sure.
I
Yeah,
pop up.
We'll put all your
There it
stuff
is.
in the bio.
Yes.
DMac, appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah. Thanks,
Boom.
man.
Let's get it.
Until next time, you never know.
You never know.